Hello YouTubers, I am Peter Hans. Recently we've experienced the Bitcoin network congestion again. Now I feel that I is in need to use Segwit instead of legacy wallet, but I don't understand Segwit yet. There's a bunch of videos to explain what is it, but the explain sounds too crazy for me to believe in Segwit. Like remove the signature. How can you remove the signature? This is critical part. How can you know who is sending the money without the signature? Or move the signature to extend the block? My question is, where is this extended block is located at? Who is going to store the extended block? Do I have to trust third party to store the extended block for signatures? Those questions remain in my brain, and those explanations didn't make sense for me. So after Google around, I finally understand it, and let's make a diagram and dive into it. I believe if you have common sense in computer, you can understand it without being a developer. Okay, let's visually look at what does a old style or legacy style block looks like. As you can see, the block have two components. Of course, this is a very inaccurate one, enough for you to understand the situation. Okay, you can see the upper part is the header, and the lower part is the transaction part. The total block is limited to 1 megabyte in size. Let's look at the transactions. I look at A. So A send B some Bitcoin. So the first line is A send B some Bitcoin, and the second line is A signature. Okay, so A here occupy two lines of space in this transaction part. Also, you can check out B. The first line indicate B sends somebody some Bitcoins, and the second line is B signature. This is the legacy type of blocks. And now I will show you the Bcash type. The Bcash type is just exactly the same as the legacy type, except they are 8 megabytes in size, so it can hold more transactions. It's quite straightforward. The downside of the Bcash block is they broke the rule of the Bitcoin. The rule of the Bitcoin is you have to use a block which is smaller than 1 megabyte. So the Bcash block will be rejected by the Bitcoin nodes. So it's not compatible with Bitcoin. So they are not Bitcoin. They are Bitcoin Cash. So that's why they call it a hard fork. It's not backward compatible. So they have their own blockchain. They are not using the Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, now let's move to the Segwit part. So as you can see, the Segwit part contains three components, which is header, transaction, and signatures. So the header is a little bit different than the old style one or the Bcash one. They contain two Merkle hash parts. Which I don't know the detail, but I understand this Merkle thing is a security connection to the lower parts. The second part is the transactions. Okay, this is the different part. The difference is A send B some Bitcoins, and the B send C some Bitcoins, C give E some Bitcoins. Each transaction only occupy one line, which is different from the legacy style or the Bcash style, which occupy two lines. So where is the signatures? I told you the signature is the very critical part. So the signature is never removed. Actually, is you can see relocated to the third part. There is a special part which contain all the signatures, which is the additional one. So problem solved. The signature never removed, and now you can be relieved. And there's no extended block. You don't have to worry somebody is installing the extended block. Actually, it's just the D blockchain block, which is 4 megabytes at maximum. This 3 megabyte part actually is dynamic. If you are using Segwit, if the transaction is all Segwit, it will be 3 megabyte inside. If no transaction in Segwit, it will be in maybe in 0. But you may ask, is this broken the rule? I did mention the Bitcoin node only recognize 1 megabyte blocks. So if a node is not upgraded, it should discard this 4 megabytes Segwit block, right? Somehow they did the trick in this block. So the block actually can trick or cheat the older version of Bitcoin node. So maybe it's physically in 4 megabyte, but the old node still treats it as a 1 megabyte valid block. So it's kind of hacking the old nodes. So cheat the old nodes to believe it's a 1 megabyte block, but actually is 4 megabyte. So that's how Segwit people solve this problem. That's why Segwit is backward compatible with the old chain. So all the Segwit transaction will be recorded in the original Bitcoin blockchain. Now you understand it. I also have a article. The full article's link is down below. You can check out the full article.